Colin Best, Flight Over Milton, number 8.
Thanks, Chuck.
Where are we going?
We're starting off at the Burlington Airport, just south of Britannia on Bell's School Line. Hopefully, depending on our seating arrangement, going up Tremaine Road, highlighting some of the new work that's being done in the Walker neighborhood, the new Sherwood Community Center on Main Street, as well as going up through Milton Heights to see the Tremaine Road underpass work under the CP tracks, and eventually the interchange, hopefully in the year 2022. Then circling back, heading down Brawny Street, looking at both sides with the new construction along Brawny Street. Hopefully the intersection of Main and Brawny will be finished, as well as some of the new areas in the Ford neighborhood, the new schools, and circling back up Thompson Road, just looking at some of the Cobbin neighborhood, which is the Madame East and West, that's under construction now. Going up Thompson Road, right up to Steeles, and circling back into the Derry Green, seeing the new Menke's building, and then heading south along Britannia and back to the airport.
Beautiful. So the lens is there. I always look at the middle, and I end up looking like one of those college portraits.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so it is the 8th Flight Over Milton.
Yes.
Colin Best, Chuck Charlton.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck.
And we're not getting any younger, are we?
Oh, well, let's speak for yourself.
How many of these do you think we have in us?
Oh, about another 20 at least.
I think so too,
definitely.
Easily.
Yeah,
so the idea is with these flights is that we just give people a different perspective of the town, right? I mean, it's one thing to look at maps, it's another thing to see it right from the sky.
Yeah, exactly, because what you're looking at three-dimensionally, actually you're looking at the rear of properties that you can't see from the road. And a lot of people look at, oh, what's going on in that field? Well, we can see from the air. We're about 1,000 feet up over ground level. Also, you can see a lot of the intensification that's going on in the town.
Nice. And I mean, I don't want to, overstate our importance here, but one day the Historical Society is going to have our videos playing nonstop.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Call this plane the John Deere. Here we go. There's the plane taking off. All right, Colin, here we go. The pre-flight ritual.
Yeah.
In the 1973, what model of plane is this?
It's a 172 M.
172.
Yeah.
This plane is older than I am. And we call it, what's the name?
We
Dennis?
call her the John Deere.
The John Deere. Well, tell my kids I love them. All right. Welcome back to the 8th Flight Over Milton. My name is Chuck Charlton with the Charlton Advantage Real Estate Team. And of course, the captain of the ship here is Mr. Colin Best, Regional Councillor with the town of Milton.
Thank you, Chuck. No, actually, we've got our experienced pilot, Dennis, who's flying us again. We're just heading off from the airport now. We'll be heading up to the Tremaine Road area, heading north along Tremaine and looking at the Ford neighborhood. We're just circling. Here we are now. You can see the velodrome in the distance. On your right side is coming up to Britannia Road. That first quadrant is known as the Walker neighborhood, with the Ford neighborhood to the right. This is currently under construction for all the stormwater ponds and creeks by Madame A, Great Gulf and Conservatory Group. There should be about 2,000 homes under construction next year. We're just heading up to Louis Saint Laurent, which you see going from the left to the right, and we're entering into the Harrison neighborhood. Chuck, do you want to highlight this area?
Well, I want to point out something on the left side. You'll notice, well, I mean, we're flying really over what will be the Milton Education Village, right, the Laurier campus. And then we're coming into this neighborhood. Really, west of Tremaine, nothing is going to be developed as far as subdivisions go. So you're really reaching the western limits of the urban area of Milton. And so we're just passing over, that's Diamont right there. And then we've got a Union Gas Trail. You can see that stretch of green that goes right from east to west across all of Milton.
Yeah, you can see the walkways there. It's a great place to walk. It should be all connected the next few years. We're just crossing up to Derry Road, And so looking north here, we're now entering into the Scott neighborhood. Chuck, do you want to highlight this neighborhood?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Scott in previous episodes. The big thing now is we're coming up, I mean, we're just looking a little bit to the west right now, but the Sherwood Community Center is a huge boost for that Scott neighborhood, and you'll see that just finishing construction. There we go. We're turning right around to it now. That big area just as you're looking straight on.
Yeah, we also have a small plaza under construction. It should be open next year right at the corner of Main and Tremaine. I even understand there's a Starbucks going in there. The Sherwood Community Center is scheduled to open this September. It'll have a branch library, 2 hockey rinks, and a combination leisure and length pool. Just going over my old neighborhood, heading looking downtown along Main Street.
Given Lane, and I want to talk too about how the price of land has increased so much too. There was a big sale on Given Lane that I think for many was a game changer. There was another sale of a property on Main Street for also a Starbucks location,
Yeah.
right? So there's people that are really willing to invest in this community in a big way, and you're starting to see it with land prices.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking south now along Bronte Street, almost at your office, and looking down Scott Boulevard. You can see how mature this neighborhood's starting to look, which is great work by a lot of homeowners landscaping their property. You can see the creeks, the stormwater ponds. We're looking back at the Sherwood Community Center, which actually, when you look at it, it looks like a spacecraft from a certain movie that we're familiar with, but who knows?
Yeah, well, it's a bit more of a modern look, I think, which is interesting as we talk thematically about this episode. I mean, Milton is intensifying. It's the little town that's growing up very rapidly. We'll see some of the developments, but right now there's over 20 applications or 20 high-rise buildings in progress right now.
So almost 5,000 units. We're back up going on Tremaine Road. You'll see the new Tremaine Road alignment. If you look to the top of the photo, you can see the construction under the CPR tracks. That's the major project the region's undertaking right now to connect up Tremaine with the 401. This whole project should be finished by 2022. There's Chuck's favorite beach up on the escarpment.
Gotta love it.
Yes, the Escarpment Quarry Park, also flying up Milton Heights, and also the property below where you see the pond is part of what's called the Janik property. The town is going to be creating a new park here, almost 300 acres, once the Tremaine Road is done, and closing off the old Tremaine Road. You can see some of the site work here. It's quite extensive. They're going through a creek valley as well, so there's a new bridge under construction and crossing through Milton Heights. Do you want to talk about the Milton Heights area, Chuck?
Well, I think what we're going to see with Milton Heights is higher densities than we've ever seen with any neighborhood. So it's a great convenient location. I mean, it's going to be right by the 401, but we are going to see some condos there, believe it or not. Anyone who's seen Milton Heights or driven through it knows it's a bit of a sleeper community, and that's going to change. It's going to be a different community. What would you say is the timeline for something like that, Colin?
Well, it's still a few years yet. We still have to work on what's called the allocation process from the region in terms of getting the water and sewers for this area. But the 3 builders there have been approved for about 850 homes. We're just circling back now over top of the Tremaine Road interchange. As you can see, they're already starting to pile the work. Now we're coming down Bronte Street, heading south. This is over the mature part of town, the Rotary Park. Bronte Street will be reconstructed next year, straightening it out, and also we have some infill. This is the TSC building off to the right. It has got an application for a 19 and 21 story building, which staff are considering now on the tech report. Now over Old Milton. You want to talk about this, Chuck?
Well, first of all, I want to say Winnie's Jerk better find a new home, because I love Winnie's Jerk. They're in the TSC parking lot. If you like Jamaican food, it's outstanding. So the Bronte Street corridor, I mean, when I moved to Milton, in 2005, it was empty. There was nothing there. Now there's our office there. You can see it with the solar panels on the roof, and that'll continue to develop over time. That area between the train tracks and Bronte, look forward to a lot of changes coming up.
Yeah, you can see the hospital now. It's all been complete, and the Sutherland Homes under construction. That's to be a 6-story building and condos. Also, the Bronte West, developed by Green Life, is underway. You also have a number of other areas. The Sunnymount Park in the middle. You can see the Madame A 6-story building, the green one off to your left there. This is on top of the Wilmot neighborhood. You want to talk about this one, Chuck?
Well, Wilmot is one of my favorite neighborhoods because you've got that, I would say it's the best shopping plaza in Milton for a Saturday night. You've got Sobeys, you've got the liquor store, the beer store, you go get a pizza. It's fabulous. But I love Wilmot because you've got the big Milton Community Park there, great access to all of town. But I love the sports center there. You've got the other plaza with the McDonald's that just came across the street from the sports center. It's a great neighborhood.
Yeah, now over the Ford neighborhood, you see the two new schools in Jean Vanier just off to the right. I just talked to some people from Fieldgate Homes. They're looking at putting their application in for a 300,000 square foot retail area at the southwest corner of Bronte and Louis, so that's going to help. You can see a lot of construction there. That dirt site is the new public high school, which should be under construction next year. They've had a bit of delays. We're now turning over Britannia Road and heading back up. You can see the waste management site in the distance, and there's some of the CN area that we'll be talking about next month. And we're turning around, and you can see there's the town civic operations and the Rattlesnake Golf and Country Club, which is also making some plans. We're just circling around. Chuck, do you want to highlight some of the new construction areas here?
Well, I wanted to talk about Jean Vanier School because I went in there. I did a little session for career day. That high school, it's just unbelievable. My high school was like jail, right? This high school is absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait to see what the public high school looks like.
We're just going over the Ford neighborhood now. You can see some of the finishing work is being done. Also, we have an application from Madame Framgard for 4 to 6 stories fronting on the 25, and also you see the Madame Martin West lands would now be fun. There's a number of other developments in this area. You can see in the distance we're heading east along Britannia Road. Now there's the McCann Farm, that green patch, which is being protected right now, that the Catholic School Board backed off in their application for high school there, but they're putting it north of it on Louis St. Laurent. We're looking now to the south. That's me in the back there. So that's Dennis, our pilot.
Just a lovely back of his head there.
Yeah, he's got about 30 years experience, so this is the kind of guy you want to be flying there. You can see there's now heading over the Common neighborhood. This is all the Madame East area, which is now under site development. There is a number of applications that council's reviewing. You can see the pumping station that's just being finished there by the region. That's going to pump the water and sewer water in the area. We'll be heading up Thompson Road. This is also under reconstruction right now. Chuck, do you want to highlight some of this area to the south of Louis?
Well, I have a question for you. So between Louis, St. Laurent, and Britannia, remember Britannia's going to turn into a 6-lane road. You're expecting how many people and how many houses to be developed there?
We're looking about the whole Boyne neighborhood is about 15,000 homes and about 50,000 people. So you're basically adding another third to the town. So when the area is finished, the town will be over 160,000, pretty close to what Burlington. We're now looking at to the CK High School and also the new French Catholic School. This is now your neighborhood, Chuck, the BD neighborhood.
It is. My kids have spent lots of time in that park in the bottom right corner. It's an established area, and I think what people like about BD is that the kids aren't flipping around and going to different schools. The trees are really starting to bloom. You're close to Toronto and Mississauga. So compared to some of these new areas like Ford and the new ones being developed in the Boyne Survey, you can really shave 10 or 15 minutes one way off your commute by living here. As we're going over Clark, and then we see Dempsey just in the distance over the train tracks.
Yeah, we just passed the other new French school, should be open this September, and we're looking north into the employment area, which we're having some I just went to the opening of a new software company, which is employing 70 people in town, and one of the reasons they came here was there's so many talented people, so it saves everybody the commute. They can be at work in 10 minutes rather than 2 hours. We're just circling over the Superstore Plaza and heading to the intensification area. Chuck, you want to talk about this area?
Well, that's, just to go back over that, I know I keep sort of rewinding on the episode, but the goal of Milton is to have more people live here to take some of the pressure off the highways that actually work here, right? To have the live, work, and play mindset. And so the Derry Green Business Park is hopefully going to be a big boost to having lots of jobs stay within the community.
Because we have such a young population. The average age in Milton is 34. This is now the Dorset Park area where a lot of people are now moving into and upgrading homes. Chuck, you want to talk about this area?
Yeah, I've had properties that I've sold in this neighborhood, some in multiple offers. I remember one in particular, there were 10 offers on it, and every single one of those 10 offers lived in the new area and wanted to move to a place with a bigger backyard. Next to the real core downtown part of Milton, these Dorset Park lots are some of the biggest in town.
Yeah, we're now looking over the GO station, and that brownish area, that's the approved development for Jackal Holdings. Is for a 31, 27, and 29-story building. It's got currently an appeal at the LPAT by two of the owners beside it because of the height. It should be back to council probably later next year for site plan approvals. We're now over the Nipissing Road area. We're just turning back around. The GO Transit has bought 5 properties on the south side of the tracks on the north side of Nipissing. You can see over here.
Well, buying might be the wrong, expropriating, right? Which actually we talked about the Catholic high school.
They're being compensated, but it's something you're going to see some massive changes there. Also, the town works yard on Nipissing Road has been bought by Fernbrook Homes. They've got an application in for a 19, 17, and 15-story building. We're now over Timberlea. We're just looking back at EC Drury. Do you want to talk about this area, Chuck?
Yeah, Timberlea, I've seen some massive sales there, and Dorset Park. I mean, the demand for these older homes is continuing because as we see development go on, they're not making the lots any bigger, right? So these are, you think about some of those areas in southeast Oakville, I mean, the real in-demand areas, that's what these areas can conceivably turn into. Nice big canopied, mature trees, and yeah, the wonderful place to live. Great schools, too.
Yeah, we just passed over Derry Road and Thompson Road. We're just circling around. You can see the Guardian Angel School and the Irma Colson School. This is now part of the Clark neighborhood. Do you want to talk about this area?
Yeah, so Clark is, what I like about some of the homes in the Clark neighborhood is you can literally walk to the GO train. That's one of the big things that we highlight with that area, even sometimes Timberlea as well. And with that, with the land now south on Nipissing, south of the train tracks, that's going to provide a lot more access for some of the people in Timberlea and Clark as well. But great access. You've got the bridge that just goes over the train tracks there, which connects really the Dempsey and the Clark neighborhoods.
Definitely, and we're just right over top of Bishop Reading. You can see all the portables there. Hopefully that'll be reduced with the expansion of 16 classrooms of the school. It's currently under construction now. It should be finished next year. Just back over Dempsey, you can see off to the north there is the town and Halton Hills employment areas. We're also looking at more intensification of these areas because we have such a demand for office use that we're having more office users coming to the Derry Green. And we're heading back down. There's the Menke's development now. There's going to be 800 jobs for a logistic firm. Orlando Corporation just got approval for a 2 million square foot building on the east side of James Snow, just right opposite Trudeau Drive. So there's going to be a lot more employment. We're looking south now on James Snow. You can see this is all future employment area, as well as office and some retail. We're now back looking at the BD neighborhood, and further south you can see the new area in the Boyne Survey. This is all those piles of dirt are just basically the builders storing soil, which they need later for landscaping, for leveling off areas, because we have to put a number of stormwater ponds in there. There's Dennis again. That's the Trafalgar Road, Trafalgar Golf Club, which is also part of the employment area. You'll be seeing some changes there. And heading back around, do you want to talk some more about this? Is Louis St. Laurent. You can see a very panoramic view of CK High School and the rest of the area.
Yeah, it's lovely. Let's go back to the Derry Green business area for a second. So what can people expect? You told about the Menke's, the 2 million square feet. How many square feet would we be looking at in the Derry Green Business Park? Conceivably, how many jobs? I know the province of Ontario comes and says you need to have this many jobs per acre or hectare or whatever they use.
The total area from the 401 down to Britannia is about 2,000 acres. We're looking at 18,000 jobs there. And what the town goal is to have 50% of the people employed in town. Right now it's only about 37. So we're trying to bring that employment up so we don't have to have people stuck on the 401 on the GO train. Now coming along west along Britannia Road, you can see the Creek Valley there. All of Britannia is going to be under construction over the next 4 years. It's scheduled to be completed by 2022. It's a 6-lane highway between Tremaine Road and the 407, so you have better access. So now back over the Ford neighborhood. Now you can see it's basically Ford is almost finished. We're now working on the Walker's neighborhood to the west of Bronte Street. as well as getting that high school built, because that's part of the problem the town faces, is that the schools can't keep up. And that's one thing we're pushing the province for, is to try and match the financing with the development, because you can see the velodrome in the distance. We'd love to get Conestoga and Laurier University going there, but the hope for this pause that we had last year is going to be off in the next few years, because all this area, we could just need a university college just to handle Milton's growth, because we're projecting 238,000 people by the year 2031, and possibly close to 400,000 by 2041, depending on what the next official plan comes out. Chuck, do you want to highlight some more of the growth information?
Yeah, well, I think by the time we hit about 400,000 is really when we're going to cap out as far as land use available to Milton. So if anyone's curious about when this all ends, when the train stops, we're thinking, but then who knows, because then you've got intensification. I mean, if you said what was the capacity in Toronto, 30, 40 years ago, they wouldn't have thrown out the kind of numbers that we're seeing now for population growth. So we're in an economy right now that has a 44-year unemployment low. We have low interest rates, and we've got a community like Milton that people are willing to invest and live here. So it's a great place to live. It's a great investment if you're considering buying real estate in Milton. So we're just about the end of our flight here.
Yeah, we're just landing here, and this plane was known as the John Deere because it's an old reliable. It's from about 1972 area. When you see the paint colors inside, you'll understand why. This is the main hangars at the Burlington Air Park, and Dennis, our pilot's done us a great job. There he is again. And Chuck, you want to wrap up?
Yeah, I think it's really funny. I'm going to show you this in just a second, but the exit strategy for by the way, there's an ashtray right there that shows the age of the plane. And so these are the exit instructions, which basically means just get the heck out of the plane, and just some pictures to wrap up. So that was the 8th Flight Over Milton. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, definitely. Take care.
All right, Colin, how did that go?
Excellent. Some great new perspectives. We got update on the intensification area and also the new construction projects. We'll be highlighting more afterwards.
Dennis, someone wants to take a flight with you. How would they find you?
Get in touch with us at Spectrum Airways, 905-336-4010, and spectrumairways.com.